aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful and we're beautiful and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, you must become the victor. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are unaware, I have been playing Marvel Rivals on my channel. Now, I don't usually play video games, you know, very rarely do I live stream, but this is footage taken from my stream last night, and I'm having a good time. I'm playing as Wolverine, and it's a lot of fun. It's a fantastic game. It's well polished. I've made it abundantly clear that I like the aesthetic of the game. I like the fact that the men look like men. They're big, bulking men. And the women look like women. They're all hot. And it's like, this is a very simple thing that apparently a lot of Western studios can't seem to figure out. Because they're filled by degenerate left-wing retards. However, as much as I like the game, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk about when I find something out about the game that's just absolutely appalling. And that's this situation here. Apparently, there are words that you can't say in the Marvel Rivals chat. And Asmongold and his editor do a very good job of exposing this. And I know that some people will say, well, of course you can't say, you know, like free Hong Kong or Taiwan as a country. But no, it actually goes far beyond that. You're not allowed to say certain words, but you're also not allowed to even input certain time periods. So you can't say like 1987. I'm not kidding. This is really kind of interesting because the whole purpose here would be to, you know, prevent people from saying, you know, curse words in chat. Like, that's what a filter is for. Like, you don't want people spamming the N-word and then recording it and then that going up online. I understand that. Like, that part of it I get. You know, I'm not in favor of censorship at all. But I could understand a game studio saying, you know, we don't want our game being associated with that, so we're going to ban that in the chat. Like, I understand that from a certain point of view. But what's being censored here is not just racial slurs and epithets. It's just, well, let's get into it.
I heard that you can't say free Taiwan or free Hong Kong in Marvel Rivals. Now, you guys know what I always say. Trust but verify. Right. I'm gonna log in, I'm gonna check it right now. Okay, testing. This is me. Free? Taiwan sucks. Free Taiwan. It contains inappropriate language. Wow. Okay, alright. Free Tibet?
Oh my
Taiwan,
gosh.
Number 1. That's a nope. Tiananmen Square massacre. It didn't happen. You're not allowed to lie in this video game. Try 1989. Okay. This is gonna be fine. You cannot even type it. You cannot say Dalai Lama. How about 9/11 was an inside job? Well, I mean, of course you can say that.
Oh my
Try
gosh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh man.
Okay, Wuhan virus. How about virus? How about Wuhan? COVID. So you can say Wuhan and you can say virus, but you sure as hell can't say Wuhan virus. Kim Jong-un? Okay. Stalin? You just don't say that name.
Yeah.
You do not talk about him. We don't talk about him. We don't think about him. I don't know who this guy is. All right. Well, Marvel Rivals is It's a very interesting game that has no censorship at all. They let people think whatever they want, and that's just the way it is, guys.
冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋，但是速度与激情就
Yeah. You know, I honestly didn't expect that to be a topic of conversation, but yeah, apparently the chat is censored in really comically absurd ways. And you're not allowed to say 1989, you're not allowed to say free Taiwan and free Hong Kong. It's like, I've never understood that because it's the Streisand effect. So, people were talking about Marvel Rivals, and they weren't really talking about any of this other stuff. But now that you've done that, you've basically opened the floodgates, and now that's pretty much all people are going to be try to do. They're going to try to name their characters that. They're going to try to make it a thing. It really is the Streisand effect. It's this idea that, oh, well, you know, we need to censor this. But in doing so, you have to realize, especially with Americans, they have they have this thing called, you know, freedom, and they like to test that freedom. They like to push the boundaries, which I think makes us the greatest country in the world. So, inevitably, what's going to happen is you're going to have people push back on this even more than if you had just let people say what they wanted to say. You let some people shitpost in chat, which I've never even used the chat. But we're having this conversation now instead of just marveling at how good this game is. Now we're talking about censorship, which is never a good thing. You know, it's like, and I say this, don't think that I'm just picking on a Chinese studio. We have our own censorship here that we push against. Now, the censorship that we push against is not usually language-based. Not usually. Like, sometimes it is where, you know, you can't say certain things. But it's more in terms of banning people what you can see. So, for example, like with Dragon Age the Veilguard, you know, they really wanted you to use the character customization to make a chick with, you know, no tits and a flat ass and basically be, you know, unremarkable as a woman. Just physically, they didn't want to insult people who are trans, who are not women, who can never be women and will never look like women. So instead of just acknowledge basic biology, they have to basically add a nerf and a debuff on women. And so that's the censorship that we have to deal with. So don't think that I'm saying that we're so much better than China, because we're not. We have our own censorship to deal with, and our censorship is actually pretty bad as well. However, 1989? You can't say 1989? Really? Come on. Like, come on. That's silly. That's absurd. I didn't expect to be doing a video on this, but I wanted to highlight it. I wanted to give it attention. I wanted to just elucidate how absurd it is. And basically my advice, you know, of course China's not going to listen to my advice. But my advice is to, I know that you're, the People's Republic of, whatever. But I would just say chill out with that. It's seriously, I know it's falling on deaf ears. But let people say Winnie the Pooh in chat. I mean, the harm that comes from censoring it is far more than the harm from just letting a couple people talk shit. Or what you could do is you could basically, I'm not saying that this is the optimal solution, but what you could do is you could make, certain phrases already established in the game, and then you press a button and it relays that information, kind of like, I need heals or this or that. You could basically take the chat out and make it pre-scripted sayings. If you're really that bothered by it, I honestly think that would probably be the better solution. Because, letting people say what they want, except for 1989, except for Tiananmen Square, it's like, come on. That is an obnoxious and absurd thing to do. That now that it's been exposed, people are going to talk about it and people are going to make fun of you. Because it's ridiculous. And again, I'm not coming at this from the place of, oh, America is so much better because we don't have censorship here. No, we definitely have censorship here. It's just different censorship. They censor different things. Like, in this game, they had no problem letting Storm have big tits and having her be attractive. They have no problem displaying Captain America, Magneto, and all these other characters as masculine, as, being men. They have no problem doing that. But in the West, we have a huge problem doing that. And in fact, it's problematic. It's problematic when you do that. And so, like, I look at like my YouTube community tab. We can go down and take a look at. You can take a look at some of the stuff here. Our censorship is just different. Our censorship takes the form of making women look ugly and just disgusting and weird and creepy, and it's like man jaw syndrome. We have censorship. It's just different. And so, when I talk about stuff like this, I really like to highlight the fact that, stuff like this is just, it's funny. It's funny in the sense that the fact that they would do this and not expect there to be any sort of reaction. So, like, if I were China, what I would do is I would bypass it altogether. I would basically make a set of pre-scripted things that you would be able to click and say, which is something that people in the West are used to. There are a lot of games where you can't really pick what you say. Like, for example, like Risk. Yeah, there's like an online Risk community. In online Risk, you're not allowed to type in chat. You have a couple pre-scripted things like good game, good luck, sort of thing. If they care about it that much, then that's something that they could probably do. And I think that people really wouldn't bat an eye. Although I could be wrong, but I don't think people would really care. But the fact that you're banning certain words that are so innocuous, like Winnie the Pooh in 1989, it's just embarrassing. Embarrassing on top of what was what is a very successful, very entertaining, very high-polished, very interesting game. But yeah, it's like censorship is never going to be something that people, normal people. Normal people are not going to like censorship in the West. Mentally ill, degenerate left-wing freaks like censorship. But they're mentally ill, they're degenerate, and they're freaks. And nobody likes them. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will bid you a good day. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. You'll get my messages on my YouTube community tab where I shitpost, and it's just a good deal of fun. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to go into it because, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous that you have a company that's banning you from saying free Taiwan, free Hong Kong, or 1989, or Winnie the Pooh. But you can say that you can say whatever you want about 9/11. You can say whatever you want about, incidents in the West. But you can't say 1989. Come on, that's ridiculous. Anyway, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.